Welcome back to the show. We're talking Samford Bulldogs women, a team that won a SoCon title not long ago and is trying to bounce back in the season ahead. Carley Kuhns getting ready for year number 4 at the helm. And Andrea Cournoyer, who arrived from UL Lafayette a few years ago and took the league by storm, one of the great scorers in the Southern Conference, is back for more. She's one of the familiar faces. You've got some others. You've got to replace a great player in the middle. Natalie Armstrong gave you some great play, but kind of give me an idea as to, with a group of returnees and then the newcomers, what the style's going to be this year. Same as you've done, some adjustments? What are you looking at?
You know, I think every year you got to make adjustments with new faces, but I think we have a really healthy balance of some new faces, veteran core returning in Ace and Na and Susie, a point guard, a scorer, and a post player is always a solid core to return, but have surrounded them, I think, with some talent and some different pieces than we've had in the past. Some forwards that can shoot the ball. I think we've added some depth in our post play, and took some transfer guards and some freshman guards who I think can help, complement our core group.
Mm-hmm. Early practices for you, as you've obviously been able to do just fine scoring in double figures, either leading the league in scoring or coming in close. A year ago, when I saw coming into this day 16 points, I was like, I could have sworn she was an 18-point game. But what's 2 points between friends? But what have the practices been like? Getting used to some new teammates, and now you're one of those veterans on the team that folks are going to be coming to.
Yes, sir. It's been really fun. I mean, like she said, we have a combination of new people and some veteran players, and so I think everybody's just getting the hang of it and just starting to get a kind of a new offense similar to what we've had in the past. But it's been exciting just to play together and learn how we all mesh. So,
with a great player in Natalie having moved on from the post, Susie and Gulafak did a nice job advancing last year, 6'3". I gotta think you're happy with what you've got down low, and you've added a couple of post players too, and can maybe play an inside-out game, because if you got folks collapsing on your bigs, you got one of the great shooters in the country to kick it out to.
Yeah, Susie is a dominant post player, and I think we were blessed to be able to get her experience as a freshman, and it's only going to help her throughout the rest of her career. And she had Natalie, who really kind of paved the way for her and taught her what it meant to be a really solid post player in our program, because we love to play with power post players. I think it's a lot of people have gone away from it, so we really like to pound the ball inside and have a player that can score with their back to the basket and force defenses to either double and leave open shooters, or we're one-on-one inside. And Susie has really bought into that and has worked her butt off, and looking forward to big things from her. But we've added some compliments around her. Emily Bowman, a transfer from Vandy, has really come along, and we've got some players on our roster, post players, Kathleen Wheeler, Kirsten Nelson, who have watched Natalie, played behind her for a couple years, have had to guard her. One of the best post players in our league for 3 or 4 years, and have really developed, and now it's their time to get an opportunity to play, and they're ready, and they've earned it. And so really excited for some different aspects of some post play that we have this year. And when you got a big kid like Susie on your team, though,
yep.
you always know, okay, I can count on that kid in the paint. So
sure. Absolutely, it's big. And again, when she arrived, the word around the league was that Natalie's someone you got to guard low. I thought that was a big story for when you first got to the conference a couple of years ago, in terms of you can't just worry about the inside. By the way, you mentioned Emily Bowman, the Vandy transfer, 6'5", so you can't coach that, and that,
you can't
that should
coach
be a
height.
factor in this league.
And the two, to have two on your team, 6'3", 6'5", every day, we just laugh because the two of them just, bang on each other every single day. But it's just, there's not many teams that you're going to face with size, at our level, and so it's just, it allows them to get better and better to have somebody else as big as you to go against every day.
Another player that comes to you who I think will help inside but also outside, Macy Lee, an Alabama transfer, scored just under 10 a game, but a very good outside shooter based on her numbers in the SEC.
Yeah, we're really excited about Macy. She has got a great feel for the game, high IQ player, and just a great teammate too. It's whatever you need me to do, Coach. I think she's really bought into a different program and has stepped in just kind of very unselfish, and she can shoot the three, which is a compliment to our post play, can help stretch that defense for us. And we're allowing her to play at some multiple positions. Might play her at some three, might play her at some four. Extremely versatile player who will help us offensively.
You came to the program from another Division I school,
Right.
and again, you're more Samford now than anything else.
Yeah.
But you've got Macy in from Alabama, a player we talked about from Vanderbilt. One came to you from Evansville, another from Pepperdine.
Right.
You can relate to what they're going through. How much of those conversations come up in the locker room after practice, even leading into the season, about how to make it all work, what coach is going to be like, and that kind of thing?
I mean, yeah, it's always hard when you come in from a different program because you're just trying to get used to a new feel, new faces, a new offense. But we have them a good bit, like with Macy and you mentioned Riley and Sydney, especially Sydney. She's been at a couple different schools, and so just talking about how they're going to fit in here and how we do things. Our culture is important to us, and so that's one of the key things that we highlight is just making sure as a program everybody's on the same page, and we're doing little things every day consistently.
Coach, last year assists were a really good thing for you, and again, I'm thinking that was more kicking into the post, and then Natalie racked up a lot. Does that maybe change? I don't know if Susie is that same kind of distributor, or maybe does the guard game help more with distributing the ball this season than in years past?
I think it'll be a healthy mix of both. I think we really emphasize sharing the ball in our offense and not trying to hone in on one single. I mean, obviously we have dominant scorers in Andrea and in Susie, but only having one or two, defenses can hone in on that. So really putting people on the floor that can complement that, sharing the basketball, finding that extra pass, playing inside out, that's something that we really emphasize every single day, which usually leads to assists because, we like to play off the pass a lot, not necessarily off the bounce. If it is off the bounce, we're looking for those kick-out threes. So, hopefully our ability to make shots, helps to assist. And I think that's what's one thing that's really cool about Andrea is we track that stuff in season, and we give awards at the end of weeks. And for someone to be a dominant scorer, she always leads us in assists too.
Yeah.
And that has been really important for our team to recognize that, you got to be able to score, but you also have to be able to distribute the basketball as well.
Is that on a second pass, or is that usually just kind of running the show?
No, it's usually her making plays for other people and being able, she collapses defenses because she can score the basketball and then being able to she does a great job of finding open teammates and so.
You've got the transfers coming in. Let's talk about a couple of the freshmen. Mason Marchbanks from Hartselle, Alabama, scored 2,000 points in high school. So you may want to cut the basketball in half when she's on the court with you. And Alyssa Tarpley, a freshman from Gunner, Texas, who was a really good high school scorer. Both are guards in the 5'8", 5'10" range. Do they fit in right away, or do you have enough veteran experience to bring them along slowly?
I think it's been a little bit of both. I think both of them are going to have the opportunity to play. Both very different players. Mason is very athletic and just a high-energy kid, high-energy player. She is very connecting on our team, and for a freshman to come in and have just a bold personality like that has been really awesome. She's a leader. She's just a great person and a great teammate, and I think her game she's one of those kids that you just know has a tremendous upside, and she's only going to continue to get better. But I would expect her to get some experience this season. And then Alyssa Tarpley has come in as well and just has kind of caught us all by storm and is playing a lot early. She's just a very smart, high IQ player and knows her role, and that's important on the floor to have players that know exactly what you need out of them and can execute that. Never does too much, never does too little, just can kind of stay right in her lane, and that's really important in our offense, and she's done it brilliantly.
I've always found this interesting, and I've been asking a lot of the 4th and 5th year seniors, but you're now playing with kids who were in middle school when you were in high school. So what's that been like? Because just from a basketball standpoint, it's one thing, but just in the things they're into culturally and that you're into, is there a weird factor there?
It doesn't come up very often, but sometimes they'll make fun of me. They're like, "You were born in the '90s." I'm like, "Yes, I'm old," but it's been fun. I have a big family, and so I've kind of I have younger siblings, so I've seen that. So it hasn't been too weird, but it is good. I do feel old at times while I'm playing, and so it's nice to have their energy to take some of that sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
And now
you call her a grandma, though.
Well, yeah, exactly. But now you get to appreciate what a coach sees, because again, one day you're recruiting a kid that's 18 years old, and a few years later, now suddenly they're this elder statesman, and you've seen them go through that last growth spurt.
It reminds me that I get older every year. They kind of stay the same age, and I just get, the music and stuff. I'm like, don't know any of this anymore. Yeah, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, Andrea Cournoyer is a Cajun who's made herself a home in Birmingham, and Carley Kuhns doing a fine job with the Samford women. Already has a championship trophy, knows what it takes to get back there. I think you've got the roster to be one of those teams that nobody wants to play, whether regular season, home or away, or here in the tournament. They will be a factor on the women's side in the SoCon in the season ahead. And we continue previewing Southern Conference basketball when we come back.